Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I know I'm just like in a t-shirt. I'm not like wearing anything cute, sorry. But so for this video, I really wanted to do something on binge eating and restrictive eating because I made an Instagram post on my glow up page, which by the way, if you have not followed me, you should go follow my glow up tips 8 page. I would highly appreciate that. But I made this really long post or whatever, and a lot of you guys really understood the post and were like super supportive and said that you were going through the same thing. And I made the post because I've been seeing a lot of DMs about like binge eating and like restrictive eating and stuff like that, and I kind of wanted to sit down and do a video kind of giving you all maybe some like tips and stuff on how I stopped binge eating, and also how I stopped like having I stopped my like restrictive eating mindset and stuff. So I thought I would sit down and talk to you guys a little bit. But I mean, it's definitely true. Like I have had like a really bad relationship with food and stuff, and it like breaks my heart to see your guys' DMs when I see messages like I just binged and I'm like literally crying and I don't know what to do, or like I hate food, like I don't want to eat it and stuff like that. And it makes me really sad because I know what you guys are going through, like trust me, I do. And so I thought that I would just kind of like just share some, you know, backstory on like my issues with food and stuff, so you guys maybe get like a little bit of an understanding kind of how I overcame it. So yeah, so for me, I always was like a smaller kid. I mean, I just had a fast metabolism, and I remember like I was always really skinny for the most part. Like I wasn't too skinny, but I was skinny. And I remember like I was playing competitive field hockey and I worked out all the time, and I was always, you know, playing in games and just doing super intense workouts, and so I could eat whatever I wanted. Well, I think the first time that I had a struggle with food, it didn't have to do with weight gain, it was with weight loss. I started having this really bad mindset, and I just like, I wouldn't not eat, but I would barely eat anything when I ate. And I would go to school and I would eat like one hard-boiled egg. I'd wake up in the morning, eat one hard-boiled egg, come home, it'd be like 3 o'clock, I'd have a piece of toast with avocado on it, and then I would just drink 5 cups of coffee until like 8 o'clock at night or something, and then I would have like a small piece of chicken or something, or like a bowl of rice. It honestly got to the point where I just like became sick. It was just like really difficult, and I just didn't feel good. And for me, I thought like, ooh, when I lose this weight and I, you know, get like flat stomach, like I'm gonna feel so good. And the thing was, like, you can do it and you can feel good, but I wasn't doing it in a healthy way. I was just restricting myself so much that I just felt sick. There was like, I didn't even have time to enjoy like my new body because I just felt sick. Like I literally just felt exhausted. So that's kind of where my relationship with food sort of started. So then kind of fast forward to when I started to, so I don't know if I was necessarily like underweight, but I was definitely really skinny, and I started losing weight and I just like felt sick. So then my junior year of high school, I remember I started putting on a little bit more weight, and that's when I would binge eat food, and it was not fun. I just remember I started gaining weight to the point where like it wasn't even like, I wasn't even like super heavy, but like it was definitely noticeable. Like you could see it like in my face, and like I just remember how upset I would get because like I knew I had a problem with food, because I would just like binge eat to the point where I felt sick. And I think that people don't take like binge eating and like they don't take it as seriously, because when you think of like eating disorder, you think of like, oh, like anorexia. And that's not to like diminish the severity of anorexia at all. I'm just saying that like binge eating and stuff, like that is a form of an eating disorder, and like that needs to be taken, like that needs to be taken seriously. And think that we don't talk about it as much, especially like I remember in like health class, I don't ever remember speaking about those things. Like I just don't remember talking about those things at all, and it just needs to be spoken about more, because I never like knew that binge eating like was that serious, because I just kind of thought in my head, I'm like, oh, like everyone eats junk, like everyone pigs out on food. And it's like, no, not everybody stuffs their mouth full until the point where they feel sick, and then afterwards they cry. Like that's just not healthy, and like that's not normal. And so with binging is when you have this like very restrictive mindset, and people don't really put those together. It's like restrictive and binging. I thought you just like only want to eat. It's, for me, I would binge when I would sometimes like restrict myself so much, and I had such a negative like food had such a negative connotation. Everything I saw was like food was the enemy. Like it was like, no, I can't do that. This is like an example. If you go to the store and there's something that says don't touch, everyone touches it. Like you just like, have you ever just seen like a don't touch sign and then you poke it? Like, I don't know, everyone just like, when something says don't do it, it's just our brains are wired to do it. So when you are telling yourself in your head, don't eat that cookie, don't do that, don't have the carbs, that word, it just starts like manifesting in your head, and then it just becomes toxic to the point where then you like don't want to touch any foods at all. And that restrictive mindset makes me binge, because then I will snap and then I just crumble and I'm like, I can't do it, and then I'm like shoving my face in, and I'm like, all the times that I said don't, I'm just gonna like shovel all this food in my mouth. And that for me is why I would binge, is because I would just like restrict and then break. So for me, I started to kind of change my mindset. And so instead of saying like don't have that, or like I can't have that, I love this thing. I don't know if it's an actual quote or something, but I like screenshot it. I had it as my wallpaper. It was instead of saying I can't have that, you say things like, I can have that, but I don't want that, because I want to have this healthier option. And so when I was out with friends, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try that. Because normally when I was out with friends and stuff and they're like, oh, like, or do you want to get like a split a cookie or something, or like have dessert, I would just say, oh, like I can't. And then it just made me feel bad. I'm like, I can't, I'm on a diet. So I started going out with friends, and when they're like, well, do you want to like have this or something like that, I would instead say, I'd love to eat that, but I don't really want that. I'm gonna get something a little healthier instead. And just changing the way you say something, the way you look at it. Like if you're in your kitchen and you wanna down a whole bag of chips, instead of being like, I can't have those chips, like in your head, like that little voice in your head, I can't have those chips, like I can't do it. Like, oh, no, I shouldn't, I can't, don't do it. You'll get fat, you'll be ugly. Like that voice in your head, switch that, and instead of doing that, be like F off voice, and then just say, you know, I could have these chips, but instead, I think a healthier option would be maybe eating some cucumbers, and that would be yummier. And the thing is, what's helped me is like allowing myself to still have like junk every once in a while, because when you completely cut yourself off and restrict yourself, that's when you just like crumble and like completely give up. So I mean, also, okay, so this is what I would do. Because it's really difficult with like junk food and stuff, because a lot of the times I would sit down and I would just like eat a whole bag of chips, or I would sit down and eat a whole box of cookies. So something that I'll do to help me is, if I wanted to have a cookie or something, I would take the box of cookies, take one or two, maybe three, I don't know, this is an example, and I would like put them in a bowl, put the box away, and then I would go to a separate room to eat them. Like I would sometimes go upstairs or in the basement, or not, I wouldn't stay in the kitchen to eat them, and I wouldn't take the whole box of cookies with me. I think that's something super important to do. And another tip that I like is, when I'm eating a meal, instead of like watching TV while eating the meal or like playing on my phone, I'll turn all my electronics off and just sit there and like sit in silence and just like enjoy the food that I'm eating, because I noticed I would binge eat a lot when I was distracted watching television, and I would just like consume, and then I'm like, I'm not even thinking, I'm just watching the TV. Or another thing that I like doing is I actually will FaceTime people a lot. Like I was just on FaceTime with my grandma earlier, eating this like really yummy vegan pizza that I made, and it was really nice because it made me more mindful because we're having this conversation. I could see myself in the camera and see her also, and so I was like eating it, and I also like took it upstairs, so I didn't have like the kitchen to just roam around eat stuff. But it was really nice having a conversation with someone because it makes me a little bit more mindful of like when I'm binging and stuff. So if you ever maybe catch yourself where you feel like you're just gonna start like binging, the first thing, just like breathe, take a small amount, like take the chips and put them in a bowl, take the cookies and put them on like a plate, and then just leave the room and leave the box of cookies and leave the bag of chips there and leave the pint of ice cream, and take your little bowl and go upstairs, and then maybe call a friend or something, and then just try to like slowly enjoy that. It just gave me a better appreciation for food and stuff.